Welcome back, folks. How y'all doing? Now, there's been a lot of news about polices and body cameras and Black Lives Matter involved, victimhood and everything. Well, but a lot of men are trying to say that police is doing stuff wrong to them, attacking them and everything. Well, the video I'm about to show you right here is going to destroy all that narrative. Because to be honest, it don't make any sense. You can't turn the TV on, you can't turn the radio on, you can't even turn on YouTube while hearing something about Black Lives Matter this, Black Lives Matter that, and everything. In my opinion, Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. They scam a lot of innocent, dumb people out of their money. Black Lives Matter don't really care for Black lives, people, okay? The founders of Black Lives Matter are staying in all white neighborhood, gated community. Mansions $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to $80,000, and they pocketing the money off all y'all idiots who's skimming the money out there. Well, this video here is going to show that Black Lives Matter are liars about police brutality and all that other BS shit. So enjoy, shall we?
After a shooting involving an off-duty police officer, it happened this morning near 47th and Mill.
You heard about the man in Milwaukee that pistol whipped an off-duty police officer and was unalived? Yes, his name is Elijah Wilkes. Elijah was driving very aggressively. He forced his way into the left lane. He cut off the police officer and got into an accident. You know, people drive crazy all the time. You can't really control how people are driving. Accidents do happen, unfortunately. However, I'm assuming Elijah had some type of road rage. He got out of the car to confront the police officer, pulled his gun out, pistol whipped the off-duty police officer. Then Elijah puts his gun back in his pocket. He steps back for a little bit, then pulls the gun back out. He just full on points it at the off-duty police officer. The police officer thought that he was going to be shot. Who wouldn't assume that? You just pistol whipped me and now you're pointing the gun at me? Police officer then pulled his gun out and fired off shots at Elijah. Elijah collapsed and passed away. Elijah's family even came on a live TV interview, basically saying like, yeah, we love Elijah, but that's the consequences of his actions. What would cause him to pull out a gun and pistol whip somebody and then point to that gun? This family definitely took accountability, and of course they're sad and grieving because that is their family member, but they also were just like, let's be realistic though. Elijah made a horrible decision.
So the Elijah Wilkes dash cam footage just got released, and that was definitely in the wrong. What the fuck? I don't know if that was a punch or he had a gun in his hand, but bro literally pistol whipped the cop. What the hell? And it was an off-duty cop. The cop had no uniform on. But it's like, damn, everybody was going in, parents trying to make money out of the situation, saying he shouldn't have died. Like, bro, I mean, rest his soul, he shouldn't have died, but like, he definitely let his emotions overpower him. And then it was so crazy, the cop wasn't even trying to beef or stir shit up. Like, dude, Elijah walked up, smacked the nigga, and tried to put his gun on him, and the cop just drew faster. That shit is crazy. Definitely rest in peace to him, but y'all really gotta learn how to control y'all emotion.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So, we gotta follow up on a story that I covered a few days ago involving a black family. They got a brutal reality check about Elijah Wilkes, okay, who, for whatever reason, a Milwaukee man, decided it would be a good idea to pistol whip an off-duty police officer, okay, and this individual found out very quickly. Now, initially, the family, they were boohoo whining crime victimhood, right? They were trying to push a BLM narrative, okay, that this was somehow an unjustified shooting of a black man. This is what they said initially.
Pistol whip nobody. It all happened so fast. Whatever injuries that they have, it did not come from Elijah. They were already so many feet away from each other.
My cousin called me and said my cousin Elijah Wilkes was killed, and we heard that he was killed by a police officer who was not in regular clothing, and it was just such a great loss.
Give me a reaction to hearing that you lost your cousin.
It sounded like another situation of, from what I've been hearing, of black men being killed, being shot too many times. I heard that his hands was up. It was a young lady who was here earlier, said she witnessed it, and she was a nurse and she tried to help him, and she was told by the officer to leave him alone.
James, we know that man involved was killed. What is the officer's condition?
Trying to get official word still from Milwaukee Police, Mallory. We're told that they will eventually have a press conference here at 49th and Mill. Sources tell us that officer has facial abrasions from the alleged pistol whipping from the man who is now dead. But again, we are still waiting to get confirmed information. All of what we're telling you is sourced information, and the family behind us, a very distraught family.
Yeah, see, now you heard that. Initially, the family and the woke activists said, no, it's impossible, right? It is impossible that Elijah did what the police claimed that he did. But now we have the body cam footage. They have released the body cam footage, and I want to go over it because, I think there's always a lesson when it comes to stories like this. I mean, this is completely and totally unnecessary that this dude lost his life, but I think people can see the difference between the stories that were told by the so-called witnesses and the actual body cam footage, which, again, really should make people skeptical anytime you hear one of these stories, right, that blows up, and then you have these witnesses saying, this happened, that happened. They're lying a lot of the time, right? Like, for example, the alleged naked kids, naked babies running around during the Chicago ice raids, right? All these black people came out of nowhere and were like, there were naked black children running around zip-tied, right? And ICE said, F those kids. Except, again, there's no actual video footage. There's no actual evidence of this happening. So, again, that's one of the reasons why I'm covering this story again, is because I want people to just realize the difference between what the activists said happened, right, and the real reality of what happened. So without further ado, let's get into it.
What are you doing?
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Forget about the fact that this dude pistol whipped an off-duty police officer, right? If you pistol whip anybody that is armed, I think that you should have a reasonable expectation of losing your life, right? Like, let's be real, okay? Like, why would you pistol whip somebody, right? Use non-lethal force for an action that 99% of the time is going to get a lethal response, right? If the person that you pistol whipped was armed. This dude had no clue who he was pistol whipping. He just pistol whips the guy and didn't even talk. I mean, the dude pulled over the side of the road, right? He's off to the side, going to the sidewalk, trying to handle it like a civilized person. But apparently we have an individual who's not so civilized, right? Handling it like a barbarian, right? Just attacking the guy for seemingly no reason. And it resulted in him losing his life, right? It resulted in him losing his life. I mean, just a really, really, really bad decision, okay? Bad decision. I mean, just, I can't imagine what it feels like to be pistol whipped, right? Like, I feel like being slapped, like if you get slapped by somebody, right? Especially like an open hand slap, you feel disrespected, right? As a man, like you feel small, right? Like, I can only imagine what it feels like to be pistol whipped, right? I mean, it's so disrespectful, right? It's one of the most disrespectful things you can do to a man. To pistol whip a man? Yeah, I mean, come on. You should expect to be shot on the spot, right? Which is what ended up happening here. As you can see, I can't play it, right? I can't play the dude get shot, but there were multiple shots fired, and the dude was running around the car until eventually, he got smoked. But another thing to note here, right? Note who has taken gun training courses and who is not, right? Like, who understands how to properly handle a firearm and who does not, right? And that's, again, all the reason why the off-duty cop won, right, this shootout, is because he actually has proper gun fundamentals in regards to how to handle a firearm. This other guy, on the other hand, I mean, he got his pants sagging. He got one hand on the firearm. I mean, he's unstable, off balance. Like, it's is bad, right? It's really, really, really bad. Again, I'm not surprised that this ended up this way, but it didn't have to, right? It did not have to end up this way had this guy just not made a very stupid decision, right? I mean, we're talking about basic conflict resolution going wrong, right? Terribly wrong, okay? Terribly wrong. Again, this is what happens when you're living your life in the hood like it's a movie. That's certainly what this guy was doing. So, with that being said, again, this is why the family, when they saw the body cam footage, they changed their tune. They came out and said, it's kind of his fault.
That we do believe that this officer-involved shooting was justified.
Early and often, Elijah Wilkes' family and their attorney acknowledged the 26-year-old made a bad decision that resulted in his death Thursday morning.
I don't think I've ever come before and did a press conference and said this.
Elijah's mother, Pamela Bond Slater, and their attorney, Ivory Lamar, watched the video twice Friday at MPD headquarters. Lamar said it showed Wilkes aggressively cut off the officer's car, causing the officer to hit Wilkes' car. They each pulled over and got out. They spoke, then Elijah pulled out a gun.
He does slap the off-duty officer with the firearm. The video does depict Elijah pointing the firearm at the off-duty officer, and the off-duty officer did respond, what we believe, in accordance with his training.
Yeah, I mean, they responded in any way. Anybody that's armed that gets pistol whipped would have responded in a situation like that. Again, he responded in a way that literally anybody in that situation who had a firearm would have responded, okay? That's the way he responded. So again, as you guys can see, this is why the family came out and they said, Elijah was wrong, right? And in my initial reaction to this, I said, I respect the family for this, because it really does take a lot for them to come out here and just admit the truth. Because most people, right, most of these so-called victims, they're going to try to extort the taxpayers, right? Extort the town, extort the police for money, right? They're going to file civil suits, like anytime something like this happens. And, again, that's why I say in situations like this, where it's clear as day, you have the body cam footage, for the family to come out here and to admit the truth, despite the fact that, again, there could have been a BLM narrative here, okay? I gotta say, I respect it. And also, surprisingly, there are a lot of black people as well, too, who are reacting to this body cam footage being released, who are also now saying, yeah, this guy kind of had it coming, right? He kind of walked into this.
Elijah Wilkes, unfortunately, lost his life because he let his emotions and ego get the better of his logic and common sense. Elijah was driving when he got rear-ended. Normally, you'd expect people to just exchange info, assess the damage, maybe call the cops and move on with their day. But not Elijah. Instead of keeping it cool, he got into a heated argument with the other driver. And in that moment of rage, he pulled out a gun. He decided to pistol whip the guy. But here's a twist. Elijah didn't know. The man he just attacked was an off-duty police officer. That officer was armed, and when Elijah put out his weapon, the officer shot him on the spot, ending his life instantly. Body cam footage of the incident was recently released, showing exactly what went down, and even Elijah's family admitted that his poor decision letting anger get the best of him cost him his life. It's a gut-wrenching reminder that sometimes the things we think are worth fighting over can end up costing us everything. If you don't learn to control your emotions in moments like this, you could lose it all.
Okay, please hear me out. Y'all have to stop glorifying reckless behavior, especially at grown ages. The whole culture of reckless driving and showing off money, toting guns is not something to be proud of, especially as an adult. I get it, it's difficult to tell an adult what to do or to hold them accountable for their actions, but this is exactly why breaking generational cycles and escaping poverty is so important. When people grow up in environments where survival and chaos is normalized, that behavior often continues into adulthood. But it's time to unlearn it. The recent death of the guy being killed by an off-duty officer was absolutely heartbreaking. Not only because his family has to live with that pain, but because his actions played a role in that tragedy. And it's devastating all around, and it shouldn't have happened.
You already know, as a black man, you don't have the freedom to just be out here. As a black person, we do not have the freedom to just be out here crashing out like that, moving like that. We can't do that. I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all right now. I absolutely will be victim blaming in this video. I absolutely will. And I don't mean no harm, no disrespect to the family, but don't get it twisted, baby. This ain't that. This is not a place for you to be disrespectful or prejudiced to black people. This is not a place for you to be racist to black people. This is not a place for you to degrade black people. I don't play that. Take a hillbilly ass over there with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. With all that being said, Elijah Wilkes is responsible for the death of Elijah Wilkes. I'll say it again. Elijah Wilkes is responsible for the death of Elijah Wilkes. Elijah Wilkes was 100% wrong from the very beginning. When I tell y'all I wanted to be on this man's side so bad. So bad. So bad, but just watching the camera footage, I watched it over and over and over. It went from bad to worse. Elijah Wilkes trying to force his way into the left lane because he had some type of construction, some cones up in his lane. He obviously can no longer travel in that right lane. So when something like that happens, you are supposed to slow down and merge when it is safe. You can't just force your way into somebody's lane. He forced his way into somebody's lane, sideswiped the car. Sideswiped the car. He did that. He caused that, right? They pull over. Elijah Wilkes get out the car, clutching. On 10, going off immediately, clutching. Why you got a gun in your pocket for a car wreck that you caused? It's like he got out on that. And of course, the man, he got his stuck to his hip too. Of course, Elijah ain't know that he was clutching. I'm pretty sure that Elijah known that man was clutching, he probably wouldn't have done that. But that's a whole nother point. Not only that, the man walk around trying to see the damage on the passenger side of his car. Elijah Wilkes walk up and bust the man in the face with the gun. Pistol whip him. For what?
We wish it wouldn't have transpired that way, and it did. And my nephew, he made a decision that he should not have made. And that's just something we had to live with. Him as a person, he was a son, a brother, a grandson, a nephew, a little brother to someone, my son, Jeffrey. You know, bad decision. And now we have to live with that forever. That's something we have to accept. We're going to accept. Again, we thank the Milwaukee Police Department, everyone who came out. You know, the community really came out. We didn't want anyone to riot, get to, going off about anything. We just really wanted to know and keep things settled.
Yeah, see, now you heard that. Once again, I got to say, shout out to this family. Shout out to this family for not going down the BLM route, right? Not going down the route of reality denial. Because let's be real, 99.999%, right, for the most part, officer-involved shootings of black men are justified, right? It looks a lot more like that than a situation where the shooting is actually unjustified, right? Let's be real. A vast majority of them are justified. That one was 100% justified. And again, they could have pulled the, the police officer overreacted, right? Like, the police officer wasn't met with lethal force, okay? Until he pulled out his gun, right? They could have did that. They could have tried to play their card, right? They could have, again, tried to extort taxpayers. But that's not what they're doing. They're acknowledging reality and taking accountability and responsibility and saying, hey, what happened to this guy, right? Elijah Wilkes. It's his own fault. And if black people handle this, and again, the other situations where this happens, right? Then you have less of it, right? You have less black men losing their lives to stupid stuff like this because you're not making them out to be victims. You're not celebrating them. You're not making them a martyr. You're not trying to chase money and get rich off of it, right? There's no financial sense. So if you actually just call it what it is, more people, more black men will think twice before handling a situation like that. Understanding that, hey, if I lose my life in this situation, nobody's going to make me out to be the victim, right? Nobody's going to celebrate me. I'm not going to be one of these people that get rewarded for stupid behavior, right? And that's one of the biggest issues in our society in general, right, is the fact that we reward people for making bad decisions. We have to stop rewarding people for making bad decisions. That's probably the biggest issue in our country, is that we reward people who continuously make bad decisions. And that's a problem, right? And in this situation, right, I'm happy to see that this black family and these black people who saw the body cam footage can at the very least acknowledge reality and say, what happened to this guy was his own fault. And hey, he has to, well, I mean, he ain't living now, but the family has to live with the consequences of his actions. And again, hopefully, this approach will be adopted in the future. And if this approach is adopted, then you're going to see a lot less of this. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
A former rock star singer in a band called The Lost